Africa's most populous nation, more than 200 million people, is served by a grid that frequently delivers under 5,000 megawatts of electricity. For a country of this scale, that level of output is structurally insufficient. So when I tell you one small state on southeastern Nigeria has had uninterrupted power for 45 consecutive days, that's not just news. That's the beginning of power revolution in Nigeria.
These 24 hours lights don't be here.
But how did a small state solve a problem that has plagued Nigeria for more than 50 years? What can other Nigerian states or other African countries learn from this? Who is behind this and the $800 million investment that made it happen? This video will attempt to explain all of that, but first, let's start here. If I ask you where one of Africa's largest manufacturing hubs is, you will likely not point here. This is Aba in Abia State, Nigeria. Within about 30 minutes of every direction, you will hit a major population center. Port Harcourt, Owerri, Umuahia. 7 major cities sit within striking distance. Geographically, this is a commercial sweet spot. Aba is not just a city, it's a factory. This is Ariaria International Market, over 400 hectares, more than 3,700 stores. Between 1 and 2 million people work here directly or indirectly. Annual turnover is about $3 billion. Aba's shoe cluster alone has over 70,000 artisans. The boots they make are worn by soldiers across multiple African countries. Textiles, garments, soap, cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, metalwork. If you can manufacture it, someone in Aba probably does. And that's why people call it the Japan of Africa. But for decades, nearly all of it ran on this. Before this power plant existed, Aba received about 25 megawatts from the national electricity grid. The city needed 228, that's an 89% shortfall. So what happens when a manufacturing city doesn't have power? It manufactures its own. Diesel generators became the real grid. At 44% per kilowatt hour, 4 to 7 times what grid power cost, manufacturers were spending 30 to 40% of their total cost just keeping lights on. In 2005, Aba had 165 operating factories. By 2024, fewer than 30. Not because the workers weren't skilled, not because the products weren't good, there was no power. To understand why someone would spend $800 million fixing power in just one city, you have to zoom out. Because Aba isn't off-grid, it is connected to Nigeria's national electricity system. The same system serving over 200 million people. So why doesn't it work? In most countries, electricity flows in a straight line. The power plant generates it, the transmission lines carries it, and then the distribution companies delivers the power to your house. You pay your bill, the money flows up back the chain. Simple. Nigeria tried to build this system. In 2013, under President Goodluck Jonathan, the government decided to do something radical. The government privatized the old national power company and broke it into pieces. 6 generation companies, 1 government-owned transmission company, and 11 distribution companies called DISCOs. The idea was that private ownership would fix everything. It didn't. Here's where it breaks. The 11 DISCOs can only collect about 30 to 40% of what they are owed. Millions of customers don't have meters. Energy theft is massive, billing is a mess, so the DISCOs can't pay the national trading company. The trading company can't pay the generators. The generators can't pay their gas suppliers. The entire electricity sector has accumulated a debt of over 3 trillion naira. A decade after privatization, only 3 out of the 11 companies are profitable. And the numbers at the top are staggering. Nigeria has about 13,000 megawatts of installed generation capacity. On any given day, it generates less than 4,000 for over 200 million people. The average Nigerian uses about 120 to 170 kilowatt hours of electricity per year. That is less energy than a single American refrigerator. Meanwhile, Nigerians have bought an estimated 13 gigawatts worth of private generators, roughly equal to the entire national grid. They spend billions of dollars a year on diesel just to power them. So, it's not that Nigeria doesn't have electricity infrastructure, it's that the chain connecting the infrastructure to actual people is broken at every single link. One man looked at that chain and decided, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to go around it entirely.
Electricity that was available couldn't even support the industries, so they had to do self-generation.
Professor Bart Nnaji was born in 1956 in Enugu State, Nigeria. He studied physics at St. John's University in New York and graduated as the top student in the school's 120-year history. Then a postdoctorate certificate in artificial intelligence and robotics from MIT. He wasn't just studying this stuff. At the University of Massachusetts, he founded an entire robotics laboratory. He became a full professor. He invented a concept called geometric reasoning, a way for computers to understand physical shapes and spaces. At the University of Pittsburgh, he held 2 of the most prestigious research positions in his field. So how does a world-class robotics professor end up building a power plant in southeastern Nigeria? In 2000, he came home. He saw a country sitting on massive natural gas reserves, but sitting in the dark. So he founded Geometric Power Limited, Nigeria's first homegrown power development company. The name comes from his academic work. In 2004, World Bank President James Wolferson and Finance Minister Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala visited Aba. They saw the factories, they saw the generators. They asked Nnaji, can you build a power plant for this city? He said yes, but he didn't propose what anyone expected. Instead of building power plant and plugging into Nigeria's broken chain, Nnaji proposed building the entire chain himself. His own gas supply, his own generation, his own distribution grid, his own meters, one company controlling everything from the gas in the ground to the meter on the wall. The 27-kilometer dedicated gas pipeline from the Owaza gas field, a 141 megawatt power plant running 3 General Electric LM6000 turbines, essentially a jet engines adapted to make electricity. Over 140 kilometers of high voltage distribution lines, 1,500 kilometers of low voltage lines, 8 substations, and over 133,000 prepaid smart meters. More than all 11 other distribution companies in Nigeria combined. No dependence on the national transmission company, no dependence on the government's payment system, no broken links, one integrated chain under one roof. On paper, it's brilliant. In practice, building it nearly destroyed everything. Construction started in the mid-2000s. The federal government signed the agreement. The electricity regulator issued licenses, making Geometric's subsidiary Aba Power Limited the first private sector distribution company in Nigerian history. Then 2008 global financial crisis hit. The bank funding the project, Diamond Bank, stopped mid-construction. Hundreds of millions of dollars committed, equipment ordered, workers on site, and the money just stopped. This is where a man named Alex Otti enters the story for the first time. In 2010, Nnaji walked into First Bank of Nigeria looking for a lifeline. He met an executive director named Alex Otti, explained the project and asked for help. Otti believed in it. He pushed through an $85 million facility, but before the geometric could draw on that money, Otti was hired away to become the CEO of Diamond Bank, the very bank that originally pulled funding. First Bank's board killed the facility. The man who approved it was walking out the door. So Otti arrived at Diamond Bank in March 2011 and on essentially his first order of business, restructures Geometric's entire troubled loan and resumed funding. By the time he left Diamond Bank at the end of 2014, the 3 turbines were installed and the gas pipeline was in place. That plant was basically complete by 2013. Months from operation, and then the project was hit with something no amount of engineering could fix. During the privatization of the old National Power Company, the Bureau of Public Enterprises sold the Enugu Electricity Distribution Company to a buyer called Interstate Electrics. And that sale included Geometric's ring fence area, the 9 local government areas where they had already built the entire distribution grid. The territory they had a legally binding 20-year concession for handed to someone else. The Director General of the Bureau of Public Enterprises at the time protested the sale. She said it violated Geometric's existing contract. She was fired. What followed was a 9-year war. Courts ruled in Geometric's favor, but the Interstate Electrics physically blocked their contractors from accessing substations. For almost a decade, these fully built power stations sat idle. Every month, $3.5 million in bank interest, $30 million in insurance for a plant generating zero revenue. Meanwhile, the people of Aba kept running generators, kept paying 4 to 7 times more than they should, kept watching their industries close. 9 years of that. In February 2022, Geometric finally paid $26 million to settle with Interstate Electrics and took control of their territory. The money came from a $50 million AfriBank loan, part of a $332 million recapitalization of the entire project. But there was still one obstacle left: gas. The original gas field has changed hands. Shell's license wasn't renewed. A new operator took over but didn't invest in extraction. No gas, no fuel, no power. And here is where the story circles back. In May 2023, Alex Otti, the same banker who had rescued this project financing in 2011, became the governor of Abia State. The man who kept this project alive as a banker was now the governor with the political authority to finish the job. His administration went directly to the senior leadership of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company. They pushed until Highest Energy took over gas operation and supply started flowing. On February 25, 2024, 20 years after the project was first conceived, turbine number 3 fired up at 3:39 in the afternoon. The next day, Vice President Kashim Shettima officially commissioned the plant. President Tinubu called it testimony to what good leadership looks like. $800 million, 20 years, a financial crisis, political sabotage, a 9-year legal war, and a gas supply crisis. The lights were finally on. So, in late 2025, Aba recorded over 45 consecutive days of uninterrupted electricity. Not reduced hour, not rolling blackout, full power, 24 hours a day. The only interruption came from a nationwide gas pipeline explosion in December 2025. Completely unrelated to Geometric. Even then, they were the last power company to reduce supply and the first to recover, back to full operation within 2 weeks. Over 100,000 smart prepaid meters installed in 2025 alone through partnerships with 4 different metering companies, all free to customers. A local meter assembly factory is being built in Aba to manufacture them domestically, and the factories are coming back. PZ, a European manufacturer with operations in Aba, reportedly has almost no need for backup generators anymore. Nemed Pharmaceutical is building a brand new factory in Aba specifically because of the reliable power supply. Geometric is constructing a dedicated 41-kilometer industry power line to connect factories along the Port Harcourt Expressway directly to the plant. And the system is expanding beyond its original boundaries. Communities in Eche River State, which hadn't had electricity for over 10 years, are now receiving power from Geometric through a cross-state deal approved by the regulator. But here is what might matter most in the long run. It's not just the plant that is working, it's the system around it. Governor Otti didn't just help get the power plant switched on, he built the legal and the regulatory architecture to make this model permanent and expandable. In March 2025, he signed a new electricity law drafted with input for 15 international energy experts, giving the state power to regulate its own electricity market. He established a state electricity regulatory authority called ASERA. By December 2025, NERC, the federal regulator, officially transferred full regulatory control to ASERA. Abia became the first state in Nigeria to fully control its own electricity market, generation, transmission, distribution, and trading, all of it. And now the state is acquiring 60% stake in the distribution company that covers the rest of Abia, so that 80 to 88 megawatts of surplus power the plant generates can be sent directly to Umuahia and the remaining 8 local government areas instead of being lost in the national grid. The goal: 22 hours of electricity across the entire state with potential to export surplus to neighboring states like Imo and Anambra. The former president Obasanjo visited the plant in May 2025, commissioned a new substation and urged them to keep going. Nigeria has 200 million people and generates less electricity than a country a fraction of its size. The average Nigerian uses less power per year than one American refrigerator. An estimated 13 gigawatts of private generators equal to the entire national grid fill the gap. This is the largest power deficit of any major economy on earth, and it costs Nigeria an estimated 2% of GDP every single year. So what did Aba actually prove? 2 things. First, the engineering. You can bypass Nigeria's broken electricity chain entirely. If one company controls gas supply, generation, distribution, and metering with no dependence on the national grid, no government middlemen, no broken payment chain, the system works. Aba proved it. Second, the government argument. Nigeria's 2023 Electricity Act already allows every state to do what Abia did: take control of their own electricity market. Abia was the first to actually do it. They passed the law, built the regulator, got the federal transfer, and now they control their own power destiny. The federal minister of power has already told other states to study and copy this model. The blueprint is there. The legal part is open. If Lagos replicated this model for its industrial corridors, or Kano for its textile zone, or Onitsha for its trading district, Nigeria's electricity landscape could look fundamentally different within a decade. The question isn't whether it works. The question is whether the political forces that delayed Aba for 9 years will block it everywhere else too. Aba integrated power is not a perfect story. 20 years is too long. 800 million is too much, and the gas supply remains the system's biggest vulnerability. One disruption and the entire thing is at risk. But a robotics professor from Pittsburgh built something no one in Nigeria has ever built: an entire private electricity system from the ground up, and a governor who had kept that project alive as a banker finished the job with the political will to match. Together they proved something that should worry everyone who profits from Nigeria's broken power system. The crisis isn't inevitable, it's a design choice, and Aba just chose different. If you like definitive African infrastructure project like this, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comment section what Nigeria can do differently to fix its power problem. See you on the next one.